Welcome back, everybody. My name is Dragagon, and this is GregTech New Horizons. Apologies for the delay. The last two videos I did, screwed up, and they didn't have any voice. So when I went to go encode them, yeah, I had no voice. It had the game sounds, but it looks like my streaming software decided to not care about the fact that I had put on a that my microphone, it just acted like my microphone didn't exist. So yeah, there is a bit that has changed around the base. Let me see if I can go and highlight some of the important stuff here. Let's see. Let's go ahead and do this. I've got a bunch of cobble in my backpack because I was working on walling up and around and just kind of expanding the base. You can see I have a number of coke ovens here. Just your normal brick coke ovens, not anything fancy or anything along those lines. And then they're all rigged up with hoppers that run them over the charcoal that they make over to this compressor. The compressor is constantly compressing and putting the fuel into this guy, my steam boiler. Likewise, over here on the other side, I have a liquid fuel boiler, but I don't have the liquid running to it yet. That was one of the next things on my list because these guys will quickly fill up with creosote, and so I need to get a bunch of spigots or something, output those things, and get them over to this liquid boiler so that I can then get all of that stuff up and running. The idea was I was going to pipe it all down and then run it along here underneath and then up into this guy, and that way this can fill up and begin to provide steam. As you can also see, I don't have anything hooked up to them. They are right now just burning for the heck of it. Likewise, I have almost all of my water tanks done. I want to get one more water tank up and running to make sure that I've got plenty of water to run these guys. And then I put all of this over here so that I can then run the steam out and into, these are supposed to be, I believe they're supposed to be LV turbines, and then run it over to here where I can put a couple of power batteries, and then this is where the EBF will go. And so I was just basically building up a wall, protecting this area here, so that, you know, it's all lit up and mobs don't come in and try and blow up and explode my stuff and, you know, all of that fun mess. So yeah, that's pretty much what I was working on. Yeah, I've got my little hole to drop Endermen in there in case I need any more Ender Pearls, but as you guys recall from before, I've got more than enough liquid Ender in there, so yeah, that's not an issue. Let's see here. Over here we still have my lovely sticky resin stuff. I've got a couple of beehives set up, but it is too warm here for the wintry bee, and too warm here for this guy. Oh, it's also a wintry bee. So yeah, and then my plants, the plants are just back here, not really doing much of anything right now. I haven't been trying to crossbreed things lately. You can see I've got a milkwort. I've got lots of metal bushes over here that I'm trying to duplicate, so I haven't picked them up. And machines are still loud as ever. I'm just trying to process down my materials. Looks like that thing's finally done, but I've got this malachite ore because I'm trying to get some more of my basic materials done that I can then smelt them up and have them ready to go. I do have this water tank here, so I don't need to build that other water tank. It's just a matter of when I go to move this guy. I'll already have that one. Yeah, so otherwise, I don't know that there's a whole lot that's been going on. Let me take a look at my quest lines and see where I was. Because I believe this is where I am right here with getting ready for MV. Trying to make those aluminum ingots. And then what what else? Oh, right, the circuits. Like trying to get these good circuit boards up and running for... I think this leads to a couple of things over here, but I forget exactly what. So yeah, we've got a couple of things that we're currently working on. I'm going to continue to build up my base and try and get it all lit up so that I don't have to worry about mobs coming in and messing with stuff. And we'll bring you back in once I've got myself sorted and can get back into the game. See you in a bit. All right, I figured out where I was. I did still have my nice little list here. It's got everything that I need in order to make the EBF, but that's not quite what I was actually working on. Instead, what I was working on was making 24 new pumps. So that I can then use those pumps in order to set up the rest of that steam boiler setup and get things up and running over there. I had already had everything made with the exception of the iron rods. I had a bunch of the stuff for iron rods just sitting in my lathe here, so I finished those up, and there are my electric motors. So I can go ahead and remove that. I'll go ahead and remove those as well, since those technically aren't needed to build things. The only exception might be this guy, just so that I can see the maintenance hatch needs all of these other things. But anyway, there is that. Now, the next thing that I am looking at is I have two things of coagulated blood here, and the whole reason for having those is so that I can mark this as an output. I can come up here and I can auto fluid output into the basic assembler, and these two things will get me some of the glue. Oddly enough, these guys make just plain glue instead of like the refined glue that you get with the sticky resin, and that makes it nice and easy to go along with the wood pulp, and then we can set that to a circuit 1 and have our assembling machine make these 4 phenolic good circuit boards. Oh, just phenolic circuit boards, sorry. It was a nice, easy, round number. If you go for the refined glue and you pull that out of a fluid extractor, the centrifuge with sticky resin, you get 100 each. And while it's nice to have the raw rubber dust, the 100 refined glue is just annoying. So, yeah, there's that. What do we have out here? Is this? It's probably some kind of... Oh, it's an Enderman. He stepped in the water and got mad. Oh well. So yeah, so there is our phenolic circuit boards. Along with that, I also need to have a number of gold ingots. I only have 5, so I'm going to have to work on some gold ingots, and that'll get me the gold wire, and then those go into those good circuit boards to continue on this quest line. So I'm going to get some more gold going, and we'll get moving right along. All right, got the gold wire taken care of. There is our 4 phenolic circuit boards, and then we can just come over here and place them, and quest complete. Empty circuit board. So there we go. So there's our empty circuit board. I was actually expecting it to open up other stuff, but I guess that's not the case. Oh, I probably need to run around and do this side, which then requires that EBF. So I guess we're going to have to work on the EBF after all. So let's see here. If we take a look at this, I can use just our normal electronic circuits in order to get 3 of those and make 3 iron furnaces, and then it's just down to this heat-proof machine casing, and that's where it pretty much stops. That heat-proof machine casing requires nickel, and I don't have a ton of nickel. Nickel primarily comes from the Twilight Forest, so it sounds like I'm going to need to work on this right down here. Novice Thaumaturgy. I need to make a quick and dirty portal generator, which is going to take some basic circuits and a diamond of some kind in order to make one of these guys. So let's go ahead and we're going to go with just the electronic circuit, a regular diamond, and we'll go ahead and add one of those here to our list, and that part is done there. I also have all the stuff you can see here for making the mica foil to make those copper nickel coils, but again, that's more nickel, so we are definitely going to have to get to the Twilight Forest in order to get this stuff knocked out. So I'm going to work on getting 4 circuits made and get ourselves up and running with the with getting to the Twilight Forest. Back soon. Okay, now that that's done, oops, I'm over here. I have enough stuff to make 4 circuits. I've got one of my diamonds that I had accrued through some of my mining stuff earlier. And so now we can go ahead into the assembler and we can put those guys in and have it craft us up this wonderful quick and dirty portal generator. So we'll go ahead and let that build itself up. In the meantime, I will really quickly come over here and show you guys right next to my nether portal. I've gone ahead and I've made my nice little 4x square surrounded by flowers so that we can drop in our portal generator and have it generate us a portal to the Twilight Forest. Now, the key here is that hopefully it's in a decent location and not some place that we're just going to be massacred pretty quickly. So I'm going to go ahead and find a spot to put like my tools and things, just so that if I pop in there, I'm not going to lose something valuable. Let's see here. Iron bolt, sure, why not? Steel dust, that'll probably get thrown into the smelter and melted down so that I can make them back into steel. Nickel, I don't care about having so much on my person. So one of the things I realized going over the footage of the last 2 videos I did a loot bag. I will go ahead and post those videos and try and timestamp it so that you guys can see what loot I got. Most of the loot is already in here. It amounted to being things like a file, pressure plate, some open block fans, a basic wood cutter, fertilizer, side chests, a sacred oak sapling, desolation here I received from that. I received a couple of parts to make circuits with, and that was pretty much all I got. It wasn't a huge amount of bags. I want to say it was 18 LV bags and 1 steam bag or something like that, and a lot of it came out as food. A couple of times it came out as another set of saplings, so it wasn't like it was the greatest loot in the world. But again, we knew that going forward because in the comments you guys had said you should probably open your bags a little more often just because they will become obsolete otherwise. So I've started a small pile, but I haven't really gotten very far as to opening those yet. Let's see here. I want you to be with those, and you're gonna go and get made. Let's see here. I had a couple of sticks in here somewhere else, and I may have used them, so we'll just put the sticks back. There we go. And then we have some apples. Apples go in here. There we go. I've already got a full stack of them. Those will probably get juiced at some point, but you can see the nice little setup there. Yeah, see, so there's some apples. I can go ahead and juice them. Let's see here. What else? We can put this away so that we don't lose our wrench. Few torches, 1 bit of food. I don't think I need the sleeping bag with me, so let's go ahead and put the sleeping bag away. Twilight Forest, it's always dark or whatever, so there's that. Pickaxe I'll probably also leave behind just so that I don't die. Alright, here we go then. So, oops, I didn't grab the I didn't grab it after all. Let's go ahead and drop in those 4 steel dust. Do that real quick because I have to go back inside anyway. Come over here, drop off that. You can see we're building up quite a bit of charcoal there, which is nice. Charcoal is definitely handy to have for... there's a quest where I have to have 2 stacks of it, so I've been taking it out of the hoppers because it's really slow, and just putting it in there to be compressed so that I can get that built up ahead of time. But there is our quick and dirty portal machine. Put that away. A little bit of food. Not that I need it, but we have it. And so here we go, about to get struck by lightning. Ready and go. Well, the fireworks are still kind of loud, but they're not as bad as they were before, so that's good. All right, so here we go into the portal and see where we end up as far as the Twilight Forest is concerned. Downloading the terrain. The stars are moving in the background. And what are we doing? There we go. And some more fireworks because we made it to the Twilight Forest. And we are on top of a, we're on top of one of those knolls. One of the things that has some raw ores underneath it. So there's some lovely raw ores under there, like gold and lapis and iron and stuff like that. And we're going to go ahead and put up a marker. Here we go, waypoint, new waypoint, and just say home and save. So there we go. Now we're here, home. Nice large tree there. Little well down there. Another large tree over there. Okay, well, this isn't too bad. I actually spawned in a pretty decent area. I don't have to worry about repeatedly dying because I spawned into like the Yeti biome or something. There's a nice circle over there. I wonder if we'd find a one of those the quest ram down there. But anyway. All right, we made it to the Twilight Forest. I'm going to go ahead, and now that I know it's safe, I'm going to grab up some of my prospecting tools, and I'm going to start taking a look around here and see what ore veins we can find. So I'll see you back here in a bit. Well, I did some initial prospecting around the initial area, and here is what I have found. I have found all 3 of the different magic ores. I've got 1 aqua ignis. I've got 2 of the Terra and Air, and then I've found 3 of the Perdido and Ordo ores. Not only that, I also found some of the silver that has the cryolite that we will need in order to make aluminum with our EBF. I found a couple of nickel spots as well. So we have those. I found an olivine. I found 1 sapphire, so that's good. We actually will have a source of sapphire, and then I can run around with the ore wand and find more anytime I need to. And then some of the rest of these places I just haven't like dug down because it is over this this mound, so I've just kind of been avoiding things. I did find 1 limonite spawn. While I was doing this, I found a diamond spawn. So yeah, we've got plenty of the ores that we can find here in the Twilight Forest. One of the ways you can do that, nickel is my favorite. If I just go find the nickel ore, you can left click on it and you can go to the vein stats tab, and then all I do is I right click on Twilight Forest and it will show you all of the different veins that you can find in the Twilight Forest. So we've got your typical diamond vein, your typical lapis vein, the extremely rare molybdenum vein, which has wolfenite in it, which I believe wolfenite is... Oh, that's not what I thought it was. For some reason, I was thinking wolfenite was one of the ones that has... I'm thinking wolframite, I'm sure, which is the titanium ore. So that's all right, though. There's molybdenum. The olivine ore we found. Terra and Air. A coal vein, not really care for finding those because you can also find it in the overworld. A sapphire vein you can only find in the Twilight Forest, so we found one of those. Cryolite vein, which has our silver and our lead, so we found one of those only in the Twilight Forest as well. Some of these ores you can find separately in other places, but these are ores, these are sets of these 4 ores you can only find in the Twilight Forest. Nickel vein, which is the big one we wanted to find. So I'm going to bring my ore miner over here and I'm going to power it up and get it drilling down and find us some nickel. I was also looking for a soapstone. Those you can find in the overworld as well. It's got the talc, and I think talc is what you want for making lubricant. So that would be nice to find one of those. If I can't recall if I found one in the overworld or not. Perdido and Ordo we found. Gold vein, who cares, because again, overworld ore. Iron vein also. Apatite ore also. I know I found one of those in the overworld near my base. Magnetite, just more iron. Lots and lots of iron. Here's the salt. You can find those in the overworld, and while it does have a pretty high weight, I don't know that I've found one yet in the overworld, so I was looking for one of those as well. And then lastly, the extremely high cassiterite vein, and then the aqua and ignis vein. So out of all of those, probably the only ones that I didn't find are these 2, the molybdenite vein and then the salts vein. And that's quite all right. We'll find them eventually. I'm not pressed for finding them just yet, but at least we have our important ones. So now I can go ahead and grab like my ore miner and come over here to this nickel vein and drill down just in the center of this chunk and get up the nickel that we will need in order to deal with making the EBF. I did grab a bunch already. I went into one of those and I pulled up a full stack, so I don't even really need to do anything with it just yet. The more important one will be one of these 2 cryolite veins, just running down here, setting up shop. The other thing I did was I found some torchberries and I found a raven's feather, so I'm going to head back to base, find a thing of glowstone dust, and we'll go ahead and knock out this quest right here of making the magic map focus, and that will allow us to make a magic map so that we can start looking for a Naga spawner. And that way we can get ourselves prepared to go take on a Naga, because that's what we'll need for our first wand, is a couple of Naga scales. So we're going to go ahead and work towards that. So this episode is running about 22 minutes long, so I think I'm going to go ahead and call it here. I'm going to head back to base. I'm going to process up some of this ore, and I'm going to get us working towards the EBF so that we can then work on that Naga scale and getting our first wand with the first bits of aluminum. So I'll see you back here in the next episode. Till then.